Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Norse Team Development. We've looked at starting rosters for League, we've looked at tournament rosters, we've looked at star players. Now we're going through each of the teams and looking at each of the positionals. So if you're running Norse in a league, we're going to talk through some of the skills that are good for them. So basically what skill and when, to kind of give you some inspiration of what to do with your Norse team in League. Anyway, let's go have a look at the team. How can we not start with the Yhetee, or the Yhetee, I suppose? I'm not sure. It's always going to be a Yhetee, or Snow Troll if you're a bit old school. This guy comes in at 140,000, movement 5, strength 5, agility 5+, passing nothing, AV 9+, claws, disturbing presence, frenzy, loan of 4+, and unchanneled fury. So unchanneled fury works exactly the same way as wild animal used to. This guy is awesome. Frenzy and claws means it's going to be doing an absolute ton of work. The Yhetee used to be race to mighty blow. Mighty blow and claws don't add up quite the same way they used to. Basically, it's going to be breaking the armor on an 8+ and then using mighty blow on the injury roll. That's still not bad. So skills wise with this guy, combat skills first, you know me guys. So you've got the brawler skill on strength, so if you get to 6 SPP with this guy you can just take brawler. If you're using him on the line, if you're using him to block, not to blitz, brawler will do absolutely tons of work for you. Your strength 5, most of the time you're going to be rolling 2 die blocks. Roller both down, re-roll it with brawler. Ignore loner, 1 dice, just re-roll it. It's going to save you a ton of times. Re-roll it into a pal preferably, and then claws your way to victory. So brawler is a really solid pickup. Mighty blow is still a really good choice. It's going to help you with removal. You are leaning on just rolling 8 or more, so it's that 44% chance of an armor break there instead of 56 in the old days with the way it lined up. So you are definitely not going to be as profitable, but mighty blow is still going to be really useful. Knocking a guy out on a 7+ gives you a 56% chance at removal of that. So 44 to break the armor, 56 to get the player off the pitch is sweet. And a Yhetee is going to be rolling 4 dice on most targets thanks to frenzy. Guard is going to be superb as well. Guard is just great, especially on a big guy. Now he's not the toughest with armor 9+, but at strength 5, he's going to be difficult to block down and get out. So that guard is going to be useful most of the time. Disturbing presence is a free roll here. It just is. It's just a really underrated skill for the Yhetee. But having that 7 square zone that impacts on passing, it just makes him really useful. So brawler for combat, guard for support, mighty blow for removal. Pick one. I don't care. It's going to be great. You can alternatively just save the SPP. Just save them until you get to 12 and then take block. Obviously block is better than brawler because it will work on defense and it works all of the time. So it's up to you. The other thing you can do is risk a random strength roll. So there's a ton of good options here. We've talked through a couple of them. So for strength, armbar, not going to be the most helpful, but will come in handy. Brawler is good. Break tackle means you're dodging away once per turn on a 3+. Not the best, but not bad in a pinch. Grab is not applicable because you've got frenzy. Guard is going to be useful. Juggernaut can be useful if you're going to be blitzing with this guy. And blitzing with a strength 5 frenzy, not the worst strategy in the world, although you do have the Ulfwereners who will do just as good a job. Mighty Blow +1 is the kind of skill we're looking for. Multiple block is a clever way of sneaking out of a frenzy trap. You block one dude, you block a second dude. You're blocking 2 guys at strength 3, so you need some guard and assist in there to make it work. Pile Driver is going to help you with removal, but you risk having your Yhetee sent off for fouling. Stand Firm is going to be massively helpful as you are a frenzied beast. Strong Arm is going to be a reroll, and Thick Skull is going to help you keep him on the pitch. Stand Firm, Multiple Block, Break Tackle, all really good skills. Ideally the best thing to do is to save up 12 SPP and go for block. That is the optimal route. Then you can go guard after that, or Mighty Blow depending on how your team's looking. Probably Mighty Blow rather than guard, but to start out with, any one of those 3 skills is useful. Okay, now we've got the Berserkers. So the Berserkers fill a strange role. You've kind of got two different player types vying for the role of blitzer, but that just means you've got 4 blitzers essentially. So you can take 0 to 2 chaos. Wow, that's old school. Norse Berserkers, 90,000, movement 6, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 5+, armor 8+, block, frenzy, and jump up with general and strength. So these guys come with block, like the rest of the team, but they've also got frenzy and jump up, which means they can frenzy block from the ground on a 2+. Also, it means when they go down, because they've frenzied themselves off somewhere, they're getting right back up for 6 movement. So they are just incredibly useful players at 90k. They don't have the strength of the Ulfwereners, and you can't often afford everything, so you'll probably see more Ulfs than you will Berserkers. However, Berserkers are really good. They are essentially just boosted linemen, and the linemen are great. So what can you take on these? They are one of the few players that has strength on a standard access. So Berserkers, although they've got frenzy, they've still got block, they've still got jump up. Jump up's going to be useful for this. Guard is going to be so handy on these guys. Whether it is just being used to support your Ulfwereners or support the other Berserker and frenzy shenanigans, Guard is really going to help you. Alternatively, you can go the classic blitzer route of Mighty Blow for removal. You've got the you've got the Yhetee who's got claws, so the lack of Mighty Blow can be very tempting to take that. You're going to be throwing twice as many blocks with this guy because it's frenzy, so Mighty Blow is actually always a really good shout on someone who's got frenzy, because you've got twice the chance of actually being able to use it. Dauntless, Sure Hands, Tackle, Pro. All really good tier 2 skills for your Berserker. It depends on how the rest of your team is looking. You don't really need Dauntless because you've got catchers. Sure Hands isn't bad, but where you're frenzied, you've probably got some better ball handlers for the catcher. Tackle will be very useful as a safety role though, and Pro just makes everybody better. Saving up to take Dodge turns you into a Blodge frenzy piece. Berserkers are cool. Realistically, I recommend going Guard to make your team better, or Mighty Blow to just boost up your angles of removal. Then you've got the Ulfwereners, or the Norse Werewolves, I think they used to be called. So these guys are awesome. They come in at 105k, sorry, and you get 0 to 2 of them. Movement 6, strength 4, agility 4+, passing nothing, armor 9+, and they get frenzy. General and strength on a standard, and agility on a double. So these guys are block away from being absolutely awesome. Strength 4, movement 6, frenzy. These guys are the ultimate safeties in this game. Block is just going to make them way more reliable, whether you're offensively punching stuff with it or defensively punching with it. You've got a ton of Ag 3 guys on this roster, Ag 3+ guys. So the Ulfwerener doesn't necessarily ever need to be the ball handler. It's got Ag 4+, it can do it in a pinch. And Strength 4 blitzing through stuff is going to be great. But Ulfwereners are mini Yetis. Use them as removal. Use them to counterpunch. If you've got your Berserkers with Guard, Ulfwereners take block, and then Mighty Blow, and you just go to town, removing your opponent's players. The entire team of Norse has block, with the exception of the Ulf and the Yhetee. You can just save up, get those pieces block as well, and then you just play a constant grind of strike first. Ulfwereners with strength 4 and frenzy are going to get more of those strikes in, so if you've got block and Mighty Blow on them, they're going to make those hits count, because as soon as you start getting that attrition edge, your team are majority 8+ armor. They are a little bit fragile. If you can strike first and strike hard, and you've got players like the Norse Ulfwerener here, Strength 4, Frenzy, Mighty Blow, start taking out some of their players. It's going to be really good. Guard, alternatively, is going to be really useful to just make the Berserker or your other Ulfwerener just more reliable, or just being able to stick them in a bad position and save some of your block linemen. Stand Firm is always going to be useful to keep yourself out of trouble here because you've got Frenzy, and Tackle makes them even better safeties. In tournaments, a cheeky Ulfwerener with Tackle will often destroy any kind of deep threat your opponent can chuck in the backfield. Pro is always good, Dodge is always good, Sidestep is great instead of Stand Firm if you can be bothered to save that long. I think Block Mighty Blow with the Ulfwerener is a lovely place to aim for. Put Guard on your Berserkers and just hunt for fun. Then we've got everyone's favourite positional, the Norse Thrower. So Norse, generally speaking, don't throw a lot. This guy comes in 70,000, movement 6, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 3+, armor 8+, block and pass with general and passing. So in a tournament setting, this guy becomes a really useful leader caddy. I can't see much reason to use him any differently in a league. You've got a passing 3+. with pass, it's not bad. You can do it in a pinch, and it is probably better to pick up the ball with this guy than not, because you do have that cheeky 3+ with a reroll option to spread the ball 3 squares. If you've got a spare 20k and you're picking up a lineman, might as well boost it up to a thrower, I suppose. It is a bit of TV bloat, but the thing it can net you, and these guys have got rerolls of 60k, so in a live league it's 120k per reroll. When this guy does get to 6 SPP, if you are running a thrower, you can use him as a leader caddy. It's still got block, and he's got pass. Use him to be the first point of contact for the ball, because he's got that pass option, but realistically he's just a living reroll. Some other options you can do, sure hands, if you want to go the classic start a guy out with the ball route. We're going to look at catchers in a moment who I think do everything we've just said better, with the exception of the whole leader caddy thing. On the ball can be useful as well to give you that move 9 on the first turn when you're receiving. It can put you in a position to have a free catch attempt, but also just start 3 squares closer to the ball is going to be really useful. If you do want to be different and go the thrower route, accurate is going to give you passing 2+ on a quick pass. That's going to put you in a place where actually you can throw stuff, and because you've got block, things like Nerves of Steel are going to be really useful, because if you've got the ball on your thrower and you can just go chuck him in the mix of things, because you've got nerves, doesn't matter. They're going to get the deflection roll obviously, but it doesn't matter. At that point it's a 3+ with a reroll quick pass, and then you've got another lineman essentially in base contact with the enemy. If you are running a thrower, the leader caddy way is probably the best way to do it. If you want to throw the ball, then accurate is definitely good fun. Then you've got the real ball carrier of this team, which is the Norse Catcher. So 0 to 2 catchers, 90,000, movement 7, agility 3+, strength 3, passing 5+, armor 8+, block and dauntless with agility and general. So the reason this guy makes such a great ball carrier is, oh look, a little star on there just to drive the point home. Take dodge. Movement 7, blodger. Yeah, you've got dauntless, and that's just kind of like a freebie skill that will come in handy every now and again if they've got Chaos Warriors, for example. It's just, I can block you. I've got block. It's going to be a 1-die block. I've got someone with guard. I've just got an assist. It's now a 2-die block. The Norse Catcher is a fantastic player. Movement 7 and 1 skill away from being a blodger makes them just really good Blood Bowl players. And that's skill 1. Beyond that, they are exactly, you can make them whatever you want them to be. There's a ton of great skills here. So sprint, sure feet's going to make them faster. Sidestep's going to make them a nuisance. Blodge step is a pain. You don't need agility 2+ to pull it off. You just need to not die. And having block and dodge is going to help you with that. Sure hands. If you want a ball carrier, then a blodging sure hands movement 7 piece, you can do a lot worse. It's one of the only players on the team, if not the only, it's the only player on the team that has agility on a normal access, so it can be tempting to take defensive to switch off your opponent's guard from time to time. We might see that develop as a strategy. It depends entirely on how good defensive is on the tabletop later on in leagues. Jump up is also a really solid tactic to make the most of that movement 7. But seriously, dodge first. If you've got a ball, if you need a ball carrier, take sure hands, because movement 7 is going to give you a whole ton of stretch in the backfield. 2 Norse catchers, one handing off to another. It's going to be sweet. Hilariously, catch isn't anywhere here, because catchers, generally speaking, don't catch. They just punch and run and dodge. Before we move on to the lineman, just want to say, good candidate for stat up is the Norse Catcher. Movement 8 is lush, agility 2+ is lush, and cheeky strength 4 piece with blodge can be an absolute powerhouse. So maybe take dodge and then just save those SPPs for that random stat up. Absolutely cooking. Okay, we got the Norse Lineman here. The Lineman is a great piece. 50,000, movement 6, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+, and block. So armor is on the low side, but block is on the great side. So every one of these linemen is going to do exactly what you want it to do. If they get ganged up on, they're going to die because of that armor. But in a straight brawl, they're as tough as a dwarf, because they got block. They're going to punch stuff, and they're going to get away with a ton of 1-die blocks as well. Developing them, I know I've got a ton of skills up here. You can just save up. You've already got block. They don't need to be any better. You can just save up and spam guard. Block, guard, everywhere is gonna protect you from getting too many profitable blocks thrown against your guys. And if they don't need to roll against the armor, having low armor doesn't matter. So bear that in mind. A random general skill though on a Norse Lineman Not a bad way to go. One or two of your linemen, just chuck a skill in there. They've already got blocks, that's a reroll. Block Dauntless. You've got an interesting player there. Dirty player, you've got a Fowler. Fend. You're really going to mug people off by controlling the way they progress. Frenzy. This is the team for that. Kick is going to be super useful for this team. I've said it with a couple of other teams. It gives you the opportunity to just bang that ball to the end of the pitch. They have to split their team. Normally, that allows fast teams to come in between and literally split them in half and then isolate the back team. What you want to do with a Norse team is drop half their team back and then use your 11 players against the 6 or 7 players that are left. You've got the block advantage, you've got the strength advantage, Ulfwereners and Yhetees, and generally speaking, you've got some frenzy in there as well, so you should be able to throw a ton of blocks and remake a couple of bits of removal in that situation. So kick is a really unlocking skill. So when I say take a random, I do think you need kick. So if your first 2 random rolls don't end up in kick, save the third one and take it. Pro is just going to be a really effective player, especially as you've got block already. Shadowings are no good. Strip ball is going to be okay. Sure hands, you've got yourself another ball carrier. Tackle, you've got yourself another safety. And wrestle gives you that opportunity to go toe-to-toe with another block player. And if you want them on the ground, thy will be done. So the Norse Lineman is an absolute cracking player. I do recommend maybe 1 or 2 randoms, but kick is what you want. Sure hands you'll take, and the other skills aren't too bad either. That wraps up Norse team development. Norse are good. The naming of the Thrower and the Catcher is a bit and I don't know if the Thrower is going to exist when it gets retconned by Games Workshop, because there's a lot of positionals. The Ulfs are key. The Catchers are key. The Linemen are key. The Yhetee is key. The Berserkers are replaceable, but they're just better linemen straight off the bat. And the leader is a glorified... the leader? There you go. The Thrower is a glorified leader caddy. All in all, it gives you a really solid team. It is vulnerable. If your opponent can throw more blocks than you and get your guys down, you're going to lose men. But they're cheap, they've got block, and you've got just as much to throw back at any team. Anyway, guys, let me know in the comments what you think of Norse in Blood Bowl 2020. I think they're good. I think they're going to do well. And I'm going to disappear. I'll be back again soon with more Blood Bowl content. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.